Thank you. Members of the board, members of the community, good evening. I'm grateful to have the opportunity to address all of you this evening, although it is with a very, very heavy heart. Less than 3 days ago, all of us as a governance team, many members of our community, had the opportunity to look at the hope in the eyes of almost 2,250 seniors across this district, one who's sitting right in front of me. I'm grateful to see your hope again. We also had the opportunity to see an incredible exchange of love, whether it was the deep embrace of families once children walked across the stage and had a chance to do their procession back into their arms, or if it was a teacher or a group of teachers addressing the potential that they saw in their students, the things that they've overcame. Love was abundant in this school system over the last week and was very visible around what that investment of teachers, principals, families, staff members, community, the ROI on that is pretty significant when you talk about human beings. I also thought it was quite incredible how inclusive the environment was. I remember clearly, as I know many of you do, where we had in one particular graduation a young adult with a physical disability who was unable to make it to the stage on their own. And their teacher carried them on their back. The smile that student possessed receiving their diploma on the back and the shoulders of a teacher who loved them will never leave our hearts. The kindness that gesture showed amongst all of the other kind gestures is something that I hold deep in my remarks this evening, because as I'm sure many of us, if not all of us, are aware, there are at least 14 students in Uvalde, Texas, at Robb Elementary School, alongside one of their teachers, who are not going to ever have the opportunity to experience that. I know we as a community are devastated. I know we as a community are collectively profoundly sad. And I'd ask if we can please, as a community, take a brief moment of silence and pay respect to those families of the victims and their friends. At this time, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you. I know Colorado, the state of Colorado, is not immune to experiencing grief, loss, and suffering, especially with children and our students. This incident, a week following the incident that took place in Buffalo, New York, a hate crime geared towards Black Americans. This situation today, another school shooting, makes me as a leader in this community, a proud leader in this community, wonder how much of this will we tolerate? I share with my leadership team and challenge them, as I ask them to challenge me, that we cannot complain about what we tolerate as leaders. And in this nation, it has become bearable for children and teachers to be killed. It has become bearable in this nation and tolerable for members of marginalized communities to be targeted and killed. You're in my hearts and prayers no longer is sufficient. It's cliche. I find strength in our students, our young adults. We had a young adult, a senior, our first graduation at PGA, Poudre Global Academy, who challenged every member of the graduation ceremony to wonder on whether we actually are brave enough to care. Powerful stuff. Our last graduation, of the season was with the Lampkins at Fort Collins High School. And I continue to be encouraged and reminded by the strength of both of the valedictorians, but one of the speeches, and I believe it was Camden, and I'm hopeful I'm right on that, discussed the story with us, thousands of people, about how to think about building the tallest building in a community. I was like, where are you going with this, Camden? And he says, clear, there's two ways to do it. There's a hard way and there's an easy way. The hard way is you bring everybody in the community together. You galvanize them around a purpose that's singular, a shared intent, a shared goal. You share your tools, you work together, and you build the new tallest building in your community. But the easy way is to give everybody a sledgehammer and to destroy every building but one. And then you have the tallest building in your community. Camden let us know that we have a choice as a community. He encouraged us and encouraged his fellow classmates to build community rather than destroy it. And tonight, like every night of our lives, we as community members have that same choice too. To either be a builder, a destroyer, or sit on the sidelines and be idle and watch life go by. I am so grateful that every chair in this room is filled right now. I know that there are people outside wanting to be here to speak as well. We appreciate that people are leading by action tonight, by coming out, speaking in community comment and or listening to our presentations. It is in the hope, in the spirit of continuing dialogue that I believe this governance team, I know we believe that is necessary to make progress and move forward. But I want to be really clear about something. Whether it was in my video that I sent out to the community almost 2 weeks ago, or in the story that I just told, if you are here and you disagree with the decision that I've made, or you disagree with the decision that the district has made, I don't believe that that's hate-filled. If you disagree with the district, I don't believe that that is filled with the intent of being a destroyer. What I would share, though, is that we have a lot of work to do to navigate our differences. And I don't believe in my heart of hearts that it's our differences that are actually the problem. It is simply our inability to navigate them, and to do that with dignity, to do that with honor, to do that with respect. Our students are watching us. The hate that ensues upon our own adult inability to navigate our difference, and the vitriol that follows, is unacceptable and must stop. It must stop. Transparency, safety, honesty, and partnership is not built on TikTok or Facebook. It's not. It's built through creating and cultivating open, civil dialogue where we can be in community with each other, disagree with each other, and still realize we're in community with each other. We can't be selective around what we're transparent about. I've heard that from you, and you're hearing that from me. We can't be selective around what our students are saying and what they need. We must recognize that our data suggests and affirms that people are experiencing our community and this school system differently, and not all people are thriving. And if it's not us as a community who are going to disrupt and help fix that, then who? Because people are depending upon us. Your children are depending upon you, and you're depending upon me and this staff to work in partnership with you. I embrace that. But we must approach it differently. We have a chance to be different. I believe what makes this school system and community great is it wants so bad to be different. I love that. It's one of the reasons I moved my family across the country to be a part of it. But those last 3 yards to put the football in the end zone are the toughest distance. And we have a choice and a challenge to make. with each other. Last Friday, Poudre High School had its graduation. It was the first of our big comprehensive high schools. I was a little intimidated by that because going from a graduating class of 35 to 500 was, whoa, boy, that's a lot. It was my first time ever in Moby Arena. But what was so cool about it is that the graduating class was full of Aggies and techies and scientists and engineers and entrepreneurs and soldiers and teachers and culinary artists and service workers, amongst others. It was full of students who were legacy students, that their parents attended Poudre High School and their parents' parents attended Poudre High School, and they were sitting right next to first and second generation Americans. Some who learned how to speak English for the first time in our school system and still figured out a way to overcome those challenges to navigate and succeed and graduate. All different cultures, all different identities, all different origins, and for one night, for 90 minutes, we didn't see each other's differences. We saw that we all supported the blue and silver, and we were Impalas. And it was beautiful. I asked every graduating class to share with me a couple of weeks before they graduated, lifting up their voice, what did they believe was their legacy that they wanted to be remembered by? Specifically, Poudre High School, one of the things that they shared was their legacy, and I really ask that you lean in here, is that they believe that their legacy was their acceptance of and respect for one another, even when they disagreed or couldn't find adults in their community modeling how to actually do that for them. That is our young adults in our community paying attention to us. I don't share that to shame us. I share that to create hope and encourage us to lean in and reflect and do the mirror work like I have to, because I am certainly not perfect. I make mistakes every single day. But I am asking a call to action and a sense of urgency for us to do better. I want us to be clear that this district is not interested in negotiating its beliefs around learning or inclusion or respect or courage or action. How we approach that should be discussed through dialogue. But those basic principles, we're unapologetic about them being human rights. This spring, we've had the opportunity to engage in board listening sessions across our community to discuss really difficult, complex topics. In some areas, they were well attended. In other areas, we have to figure out how to draw people out of their homes in the evening to get them engaged in these conversations. But it was a step forward across difference in community. What I shared in my video a week and a half ago, I stand by and commit to that those conversations will continue with the board, with staff in the year ahead, if not sooner. We have work to do to sit down around the table and just look at each other in kindness and in community to talk to one another. I would also close in saying that we believe that partnership with parents and guardians and family and community members is essential to make progress. I was hired to not do work to you, but to listen to you, to reach out, to hear you, even across difference. Some of the differences that many of you are here to discuss, the moment I became aware of them, I addressed what I could within my locus of control immediately. I promise to treat your children with this staff like they are our own. Our staff across every one of our schools is incredibly committed to you. Are we perfect? No. But we're committed to doing better. We're committed to listening to you. We're committed to partnering with you as allies in this work and not to be your adversary. I ask that we try to lean in, and I invite you into that dialogue for us to actually engage in thoughtful conversation with each other. And I ask and hope that that can be modeled tonight. Our focus in this district is not just on academics, but it's on cultivating healthy, whole people who see themselves as being enough. And we have to model that through our words, our actions, and challenge when our mindsets, values, and beliefs don't necessarily reach the bar for that for all people. I appreciate the time and the opportunity to address our community tonight, and thank you very much. And I thank all of you for listening.